So, what is the New World Order? I mean, you hear that phrase thrown around all the time, right? But what does it actually mean? Is it some shadowy conspiracy? A new political project? Well, today, we're going to try and answer that by looking at a fascinating high stakes debate between two thinkers who have completely opposite views.
The thing is, the idea itself is, well, it's totally up for debate. There isn't one single order that everyone agrees on. A lot of thinkers would actually say we're in a transition phase, moving from the world we knew to something new. And to get a handle on what that something new could be, we're diving into this clash of ideas.
All right, let's meet our debaters. First up, we've got Alexander Dugin. He's a Russian strategist, the brains behind this Eurasian movement. For him, the world is locked in this huge civilizational fight against the West. And on the other side, we have the late Olavo de Carvalho, a Brazilian philosopher. His whole focus was on the individual. He argued the real enemy isn't a country, but a global elite that operates above countries. Yeah, you can already see their starting points are, well, miles apart. So, here's the game plan for breaking this all down. We'll look at Carvalho's three global projects, then Dugin's two opposing powers. After that, we'll hit the big one, America, empire or victim. And finally, we'll get into the deep philosophy behind it all.
All right, let's dive into Olavo de Carvalho's framework first. He basically said, look, if you're trying to find one single New World Order, you're looking for the wrong thing. He believed there are actually three different, really powerful global projects, all fighting for the top spot. Think of it as a clash between bankers, militaries, and preachers. So, project number one, according to Carvalho, the Russo-Chinese military and intelligence elite. And he was really specific here. This isn't just about countries teaming up. It's a project run by a certain kind of person. You know, the bureaucrats, the spies, the military brass, the folks who are basically the heirs to the old communist power structure. For them, it's all about military power and geopolitical chess. Every single move is a strategic calculation.
Okay, on to his second project, and this is the one a lot of people probably think of when they hear globalism, the Western financial elite. But again, Carvalho's clear, this is not a country, it's a network. We're talking about those powerful, sometimes secretive groups like the Bilderberg Club or the CFR. Their power? It's not tanks and planes, it's money, pure economics, and their endgame is a single world market that they, of course, control.
And then there's the third project he pointed to, the Islamic Religious Project. Now, this one operates on a totally different wavelength from the other two. It's not about geopolitics, it's not about Wall Street, it's about religious authority. He saw it represented by groups that cross national borders, like the Islamic Brotherhood, and their goal, in his view, was pretty straightforward, a universal caliphate. For this group, the whole global game is really a spiritual war. This leads us to a really key term in Carvalho's thinking, the consortium. That's what he called that second group, the Western financial elite. And for him, this wasn't just a bunch of rich guys. No, it was a specific, organized group, acting like a single unit. And here's the really wild part of his argument. He claimed this consortium is fundamentally anti-national. That means they operate above and even against the interests of their own home countries.
Okay, so that's Carvalho's three-part world. Now let's switch gears completely and look at Alexander Duguin. His vision is, well, it's a world away. Where Carvalho saw this complicated three-way battle, Duguin sees something much, much simpler, more black and white. For him, pretty much all of human history boils down to one epic struggle, land power versus sea power.
And this really lays out his core idea. On one side, you've got Tellurocracy. That's land power. That's his vision for Eurasia. Russia, China, their allies. He sees it as continental, traditional, and all about the collective. On the other side, you've got Thalassocracy, sea power. That's the West, the US, NATO. And it's defined by being maritime, commercial, individualistic, liberal, and capitalist. Two totally different ways of being.
So here's the kicker. For Duguin, this isn't some political disagreement you can hash out at a summit. No way. He sees it as an inevitable existential war between these two models of civilization. In his worldview, the United States is the engine of globalization, and its very nature means it has to try and destroy Russia, which he sees as like the last bastion of tradition and spirituality in the world. And this, right here, is where things get really interesting. This is the heart of the debate, the flashpoint where these two worldviews just smash into each other. The role of the United States. Is America the one building a global empire,
Or is it actually the empire's main target?
I mean, just think about that question for a second. Is the US the villain or the victim? Because Duguin and Carvalho don't just kind of disagree on this. Their answers are the exact opposite of each other. Let's break it down. This really gets to the heart of it. For Duguin, it's simple. The USA is the engine of liberal globalism. It's the hyperpower deliberately pushing its values on everyone to dominate the world. But Carvalho, he argued the complete opposite. He said the USA is the #1 victim of this globalist consortium. He believed this elite is actually anti-American and that it's actively trying to destroy U.S. sovereignty from the inside.
From Duguin's point of view, America and globalism are basically the same thing. He talks about this powerful Americanocentric field that shapes the whole world, pushing out its values of liberal democracy and free markets like they're universal truths. For him, the U.S. government and the globalist project, they're one and the same.
But then you have Carvalho's take, and this quote says it all. He believed the globalist elite has zero loyalty to any country, not even its own. So if their interests clash with America's, they won't hesitate for a second to turn against America to crush it. He literally saw a powerful anti-American force working from inside the West, basically using America like a host organism that it plans to eventually discard. So you have to ask, how can two smart people look at the same world and see something so completely different? Well, it's because their disagreement goes way deeper than just geopolitics. It's really a philosophical fight over what's more important, the individual or the collective.
And at the heart of Dugin's entire philosophy is this idea of wholism. Basically, it means the whole is more important than the parts. So for him, the civilization, the state, the tradition, those things are more real and more valuable than any single person. He looks at the West's obsession with the individual and sees it as the root of all modern problems, a turning away from real objective truth.
And this is where you see the ultimate showdown, at least in Dugin's mind. He pits the West, which he says is all about the individual, reason, and personal freedom, against his vision for Eurasia, which is about the collective, tradition, and serving a higher absolute. To him, the West's open society that puts the individual first, that's not progress. He literally calls it a heresy. Okay, so let's just recap real quick. You've got Carvalho's world, which is this messy, three-way fight for power. Then you have Dugin's world, a black and white, two-sided war between civilizations. For Duguin, America is the empire. For Carvalho, America is the empire's main target. And underneath it all is that huge fundamental question. What's more important, the group or the person? And all of this leaves us with one last big question to think about. Are the great conflicts of our time really just about nations and their interests? Or is history actually driven by something deeper? By these powerful ideas that take hold of entire civilizations and turn them against each other? That's really what this whole debate asks us to wrestle with.